Good.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, and greetings to the 12 tribes of Israel who are scattered to the four corners of the globe. Shalom. We are Hebrew chosen elect. We are here at 19 Lamson Lane, classroom 110B at Rose Hill Community Center for Shabbat class from 12 to 4 p.m. And today we're going to finish in our Torah reading in the book of Genesis, chapter 27, Jacob and Esau.
Who is Esau Today, part 2.
Salaki. And if you're ready, grab your pens, your pencils, take notes. If you have any precepts, please raise your hand or say Salakia.
Let's try to hold them today.
Okay, well.
Because that way we won't cut it short. It's a lot of stuff.
Come.
But you can still raise your hand. But if you do, let's keep it quick though.
Come.
Yeah, keep it brief today. If we could.
And Genesis 27. And if you can, hit the like button so the algorithm go up and share the video. You know. You ready?
Yeah, because last week we couldn't finish it out. Trying to get through it all. Ran short of time. It was a nice chunk left.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold, now I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now, therefore, take, I pray thee, the weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. When Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob, her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, the Lord, before my death. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, Behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man.
So this is just a recap. Jacob said, Esau, his brother, is a hairy man, and he's a smooth man. We're going to kind of breeze through these photos because we went through them last week. But as you see, when you look up hairy all over men, this is what you're going to find. If you look up hairy men in European Renaissance art, this is the things that come up. These are the images that come up when you look up art of hairy men, hairy wild men in Europe during the Renaissance period, or however you want to look it up. Just go on Google, something like that type of search. It'll bring you to these, items, articles of artwork from the Renaissance period. As you see, you got the smooth man Jacob, and you got the hairy man Esau and Jacob in Dark Ages Europe. This is Esau coming out of the mountains to try and conquer Jacob. This is like 1400s. And this is obviously what they don't show us in the history books and history class in school. But when you do your search, this is what you'll find. Black wild men of Europe. That's Jacob and Esau right there in your face. And we're gonna go through some books documenting the fact that the Europeans in rule was so-called black men, and they were covered by the so-called white man around the 1600s, 1400s. Where these images are coming from. See, all the images you find, the hair, this is their natural state. This is their undomesticated state right here. See that? Undomesticated. It's like a wild boar. You domesticate him, and then he fur, and he's this pink, pig-looking thing that are accustomed to being in the grocery store. But you let him out in the wild, even though them pink things that's in your barn is going to turn hairy and turn to the wild boar. That's what it's going to turn to. So it's the same thing. Same exact thing.
They was undomesticated. They were setting up in the Caucasus Mountain, eating fleas off each other.
Yep.
They wasn't taking baths. You know what I mean? They didn't know what a toothbrush is. They was doing such unclassless things during this time. I mean, they was eating till they throw up and
wearing the clothes till they disintegrate.
Yeah, and just peeing in public and all type of nasty stuff. You know what I mean?
But you're not gonna find the images of a so-called black man looking like that. This is what you're gonna find, either in slavery or looking smooth. You ain't gonna find them all hairy over looking like a billy goat. You ain't gonna find it. That's what Bigfoot. Just ain't gonna find it. I mean, you go to the mountainous areas of the United States, they always got some story of Bigfoot. That's just a real tall Edomite that's, ain't living in the house. He's in the woods. That's all that is. That's your Bigfoot myth. A real tall, heavy-set Edomite living on the land. Yeah. And grew his back to his natural state. Then grew his hair back.
Salakia. How about the ones that run around on all fours? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was back in the
So talk about it.
Nah, they doing it now.
Talk about
They
it.
doing it right now. It's a group of them.
I saw it too.
Yeah, they feel that's how they should. They gonna take natural state, I guess.
Well, back to the natural state.
And they look like they comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks so natural
right.
when they do it. They running around on all fours, man.
Oh, we ain't bring it out. We brought it out last week. Somebody grabbed that Job 9:24. We got to start the class off with that, because the whole purpose is if that's not Esau, who is he? So like you just brought out, who else is going around? And now it's the norm. We got to go back to walking on all fours. Who's doing that? The Arab ain't doing it. Ain't no Mongols out there doing it. Ain't no Asians out there doing it. If somebody got it, just read it right quick.
Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
So today the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and as we've already went through scripture, the wicked of the Bible is Esau. The earth is given into Esau's hand, and he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. What's that mean? He's hidden the identity of the people who was put here as the judges, kings, and priests, and he's taken that identity. Go ahead.
If not, where and who is he?
If not him, who's today doing this, where and who is he? Who is who? The wicked of the earth, Esau. If it ain't, who's fulfilling these prophecies and these characteristics? If it ain't that person in the earth, then who could it be? That's Esau. Somebody that's not taking up the characteristics that the Most High God, the living God, said would be having these characteristics. He said that Esau would be fulfilling these prophecies and he would have these characteristics. So you want to know who Esau is? It's whoever fits the bill.
I got a precept.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1, 3, and 4. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. The border of wickedness. And the people against whom Yahweh.
The person?
The people
people.
The people against whom Yahweh will have indignation forever.
That's the wicked. According to the Bible, the wicked is Esau.
Come.
The people, his descendants. That nation that was prophesied would be of a different manner of the nation of Jacob. That's the wicked of the earth.
Go back to that precept in Psalm 58.
All right.
Bring it out.
Bring it out. Bring it out real quick.
Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
So he's coming out even in his baby talk line.
And who today is spreading lies? Who taught that Christ is a so-called white man with a long... Is that my phone?
Yeah.
I put it on vibrate. Don't worry about it. Who lied to the world that Yahweh, who they call Jesus Christ, is a European with blonde hair when the Bible says the opposite? Who started all the main major religions that go against what the Bible says, against God's word? Speaking lies from the womb.
Come.
Is that all on that?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's go back. Genesis 27, we're at verse 12.
My father, Salakia, verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father, peradventure, will fail me, and I shall see to him, I will seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands.
So he had to put goat hair on his hands to pretend to be Esau. Go ahead.
And upon his hands, and upon his smooth of his neck.
And he even had it on his neck. His neck was hairy like a goat. His neck was hairy and hands was hairy like this fella right here.
And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto him, his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, set and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because Yahweh thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh hath blessed. Therefore Yahweh give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee.
See that everybody can get salvation.
Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee.
So let's see if there's anybody left to get blessed. First Maccabees 2, 7-12. Is there anybody left to get blessed? Because what's the lie? This taught through Esau and his Christianity and Catholicism and different doctrines and religions that everybody can be blessed, because right next to Jacob, because it said cursed is who curses him, but blessed is who blesses him. So that's everybody. Everybody nation in the Bible can be saved in the last day. When the trump sounds, all nations can get that salvation, everlasting life, which it don't even say that, but even just a blessing. Who's going to be blessed? Who is left to be blessed? We're going to find out through the scripture. First Maccabees 2, 7-12. Verse 7-12. Chapter 2, verse 7.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 7. He said, woe is me, wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people, and it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple has become as a man without glory.
Mm-hmm.
Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy.
Yep.
What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
That's a rhetorical question. That's letting us know all nations have had a part in our kingdom and gotten of Israel's spoils.
Shit, right now they still taking part in our spoils.
Still taking, yeah, still trotting down Jerusalem. Keep going.
Yes, absolutely. Exploiting us in our neighborhoods, setting up shop. The new face of white supremacy is our enemies that come from these other nations.
Mm-hmm.
Coming here, getting these loans, coming here, exploiting your neighborhood, taking your goods back to their neighborhood, making sure your dollar don't fund your community. Yeah, they're doing us, they're downtrodden us now, who have not taken part in our spoil. We are the currency of this country. Your social security number is the same as a banknote currency number. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
that's the fact. If you know how to do it, you can actually go get money off of your social security number. I know somebody that did it. I don't know how.
The so-called black and Hispanic man is
do
the
it.
biggest cog in the wheel right now. The biggest cog in the wheel. And then they try and put us up against each other. That's the plan anyway. You see it. That's why they putting these foreigners that's coming with the gang mentality in the so-called black neighborhood and giving them a piece of the pie and say, look, he's taking your cookie. And the white man got the biggest cookie. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
Come.
They spoiling us.
Keep reading. That's
Keep
a
reading
fact.
that?
Yeah, keep reading it down. That's a
All
fact.
her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond
And
slave.
all nations have had a part in that. We just read that. Go ahead. Verse 12.
And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned
And
it.
what's our glory? It's the Most High, but I'm looking for something specific. Who knows what our glory is? What is it that we can glory in?
Our rulership.
Jeremiah commandments con. Jeremiah 9:24. Real quick. And this has been taken from us. They basically have control of the scriptures. Ain't that who taught you that it said something different from what it actually said? Because who had it to give it to you? Mm-hmm. Right. Like, yeah, 24.
Start 23.
You can? Yeah, go ahead. Anybody? You got it?
Where we at?
Jeremiah 9:23 and 24.
The book of Jeremiah 9:23 and 24. Thus saith Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. let nor the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Yahweh.
You see that? Who taught so-called black men to become apologetics of Christians and get online and hate on their own brothers because they come into this understanding and knowing the Most High? Don't they make videos against what we teach? Oh, they over there teaching the law. They're not teaching Christ because they're teaching the law and they're emphasizing the law, but the Bible says it, and that's how you know the Most High. So who taught them that? You see that? The other nations did, specifically Esau at the head, leading up to white supremacy. That all the other nations are part of as pawns.
I got a precept.
Oh, you got a precept?
Yeah, this is the book of Psalms 50, 16 to 21. Psalms 50, 16 to 21.
16 to 21?
Yeah.
You can start it. I'm about to pull it up.
But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee? When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentedest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence.
Who's that talking about?
Esau.
Go ahead.
These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such as one as thyself, but I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes.
Break that down a little bit.
Well, that's saying that they're going to take the Most High's covenant and then just shoot blame towards us. They've taken the Most High's, they've taken the Bible, they come with all these different denominations of Christianity that cause confusion. They letting LGBT all up in the church. They're doing all type of foolishness and wickedness. And then saying it's the Lord's covenant, it's God's will to do these things. They saying it's God's will for us to be shot down in the streets and get slave labor out of us and get riches and things of that nature. That's what they're doing. You know what I mean? And the prophecy is coming to fulfillment right before your eyes. You can see it.
All right. Let's go from there. Let's go Jeremiah 30, 10 to 11.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, 10 and 11. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations.
So this is end time prophecy. He says he's going to make a full end. Go ahead. Of all nations.
Whether I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished.
See that? Isaiah 11, 12. So all nations where Israel's been scattered, said all nations had a part in the spoiling of Israel, making Israel a bond slave. End time prophecy says when the Most High comes and saves Jacob, that he make an end of all nations. Don't say some. It's specific to who I will not. It's specific to who I will not make an end of. It said, Jacob, I will not make a full end of thee, but will correct thee in measure. See that? Isaiah 11, 12.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
So just another one to show who's at the scattered to the four corners of the earth, Judah. And if you read down that chapter, it also goes into Ephraim and Israel. But Mosiah said through prophecy that he would put an end of all nations. And we just read what nation hasn't had a part in the spoiling and the cursing of Jacob? None. So that's the answer to that. Be not fooled. Back to Genesis.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 30. And it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac, his father, that Esau, his brother, came in from the hunting. From his
Real
hunting.
quick, you was talking about that hitting enemies junk, right?
Yeah.
And he's hating on all the teachings, like the teaching we talking right now. But is it us? Did the Bible not say that multiple places? Like it ain't Israelite doctrine, it's the Bible. But you'll have a so-called Negro that'll, get some a following, a platform, and even be teaching the same thing that you believe in, and then he'll turn and he'll start teaching the opposite. Because he's what? He's really a deceiver in sheep's clothing. Yeah. They came to really to take up the seed that was sown. God. So we gotta be aware of these things. But go ahead, back to that. Just want to say that.
And he also had made savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. Mm-hmm. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing.
You see that? And that's how we know what it's talking about when it said he's been a liar from the womb. Because this a couple chapters ago, he sold that birthright. So what's he coming back and talking about now? He wasn't supplanted. It was bought righteously.
He despised it.
He despised
it. He hated it.
So that's the liar. Esau. The same person that come here to America is lying and reneging on deals and treaties. Everywhere he goes doing the same thing. That's who does that today. He's from the beginning, he's been a liar. Making deals and then reneging on those deals and acting as if he was supplanted or he was lied to. But he's the liar.
Can I make a point?
Yeah.
Because if you sell your birthright, you can't be trusted with anything else. Any treaty he makes, any deal, anything. If you sell your birthright and make a deal with that, you compromise your birthright. But what else can you trust Esau in? There's nothing else. This is why even the Indians said he speak with forked tongue. Mm-hmm. You can't trust him in nothing else because, of course, it's a spiritual thing. That vibration is in him now. He can't be trusted with anything. You can't trust him. Most I said, never trust the enemy in the scripture. Never trust him. Mm-hmm. Because how you going to trust Esau? You sell your own birthright. That was given to you from the heavens, from the spiritual world. And he compromised that away. So now what are you going to trust him in? And so now they're doing that with Kamala Harris, which is Esau. You know what I'm saying? And some of them are doing it with Trump. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter. You can't trust them in nothing, man. So now they got to face the repercussions, right? For bowing down and selling themselves over to that, they're going to suffer the repercussions of it.
What do he sell his birthright for? What was the father represent? That's food? Is not another meaning for that?
Sold it for more some meat. Basically, he sold it for nothing. He despised it. He did also. I'll give you more meaning. He didn't have faith that the Most High would. He didn't have any faith. He just got hungry, and he's the birthright, the blessing of the Most High don't mean nothing. I gotta eat right now. He kind of did what we saw Boosie do. when he was eating the pork on. Yeah, well, he looked to the sky. He said, "He gotta feed me. I'm hungry. I gotta eat." Yeah, Esau said, "I'm hungry. I gotta eat." Yeah, he ain't gonna care if I sell the blessings of everything just so I can eat, because he know he gotta feed me. It didn't mean nothing to him. That's why it means we despise
vibration that Cain had. See, Cain offered up the fruit sacrifice, and Abel offered up the right sacrifice. But Cain with that vibration, which wanted to do what he wanted to do. So because as long as it benefited him, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. The same thing with Esau. He wanted right now. Right? Yeah. And so Jacob understood that, being a supplanter, right? And that's how we're supposed to deal with Esau now. We're supposed to supplant him. That's us. Mm-hmm. But, in righteousness, though. Understand? Because everything that he got, he really stole from us. The Most High just reversed it. He allowed Esau to supplant us. So now in righteousness, we're supposed to go back and now supplant him in righteousness.
And we don't got to do much to do it. Because from the beginning, he sold that birthright. Yeah. His supplanting is coming from the Most High. We don't got to do nothing but come back to the Most High. That's our problem. We don't follow what the Most High said to do. But yeah, let's go back. We're at 37.
37.
You can read 36 again if you want.
The book of Genesis 27 and 36. And he said, "Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he had taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?" And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, "Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?" And Esau said unto his father, "Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me even also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, "Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shall thy live."
So he would get this by his sword. He would be living on the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven by his sword. This is his blessing. Go ahead.
And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
So it was his blessing that he would live by a sword, and it was his place would be to serve Jacob, but it would come to pass that he would break that yoke from off his neck. So there was a time in history when Esau served Israel, and then there was a time when they broke that yoke off of their neck, and they haven't returned to serving Israel since then, except for you'll find little small capacities where, like, through war, Jacob, like in the Maccabees, Esau got conquered for a bit. They served, but then they didn't really serve, because then the Romans came in. Everybody served the Romans, who were what? Edomites. So, like, when we conquered Esau in the Maccabees time, we just conquered the Edomites that's in Edom, because we was warring with the Edomites in Edom, and we was warring with the Edomites that were the Macedonian Greeks. And then Judas made the deal with the Romans. That's how they even came into play. Judas made the deal with the Romans. Judas had never made that deal, but he made the deal with the Romans, who are also Edomites. And that's how they ended up, after the Greeks, they ended up being in control of the known world. All Esau, though, how they do it? By their sword. But we're going to get into that. So I think he rose his hand first. Go ahead.
All right. I'm trying to get an understanding here. 39, verse 39, and then go back to verse 28. He's giving that same blessing that he just gave to Esau.
Well, I just explained it.
Yeah.
It'll be by the sword.
Yeah, by the sword.
Yeah.
So in other words, we both got the same blessing, but Esau's coming to take it from us by the sword.
Well, I mean, kind of, sort of. It's not the same blessing. It's the whole. It's 39 and 40 that matters together. He's going to do it by the sword. He's really prophesying. He's giving this blessing, but it really ain't a blessing. It's really not a blessing because
he's going through tyranny.
Yahushua said, "He that live by the sword would die by the sword." Your blessing is to live by the sword, then that means what? Your future is to die by it. Exactly. So,
right, because Jacob's blessing was by living by the spirit of the Most High, keeping the commandments. That's our blessing. But Esau's living by the sword. He's not going to turn to the Most High. It's going to be done by the sword. So he's going to take over regions of lands and nationalities of people and everything by the sword. Jacob would not do that. Understand? You can read the history when Jacob, they went into lands only because these enemies attacked them, and then they took over, nations and people's lands and so forth, and took out the spoil. But that was by the command of the Most High. The way we do that. Esau is not going to go by what the Most High commands. He's going to do it by the sword.
I got a precept, Elder.
Yeah.
This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4.
we're going there.
Oh, never mind. I'll hold it. Well, huh?
Yeah, we're going through that.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
that's
I'll hold
part
it.
of the
Never mind.
read.
I'll hold it.
So, but we definitely going there. That's why I said let's try to breeze through things. But and you see, he kind of forced this blessing. That's why it's not really a blessing. He's like, what blessing? The blessing's already been given. He's like, come on, Daddy, come on, I need a blessing too. But it really ain't a blessing.
In other words, I had to give him something.
Yeah, and the Most High showed him what he's going to do, basically.
Right.
Right.
I had to give him something. I'm saying that sword. If you see Esau now, the sword is what he got now, right?
Yeah.
His ICBMs, the nuclear bombs, all that. That's part of that sword. And you notice no nation can get past that. That blessing is really came to pass. That's why these nations are kind of careful when they're dealing with Esau, because he's been given that blessing. Esau is really, his empire is really fallen, but what's keeping him alive?
The sword.
The sword. That's the only thing that's keeping him on top is the sword. Understand?
Slacky.
Yeah.
Just one part to add.
Yeah.
Esau is the one who first created the atom bomb, right?
Well, we know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
come.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, the most powerful weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Come.
He split the atom.
And look,
Right.
this photo I pulled out of a Bible dictionary. We've all seen the photos of the Jews in Egypt in servitude. This is a photo of some red-haired so-called white men in same time frame Egypt, and they're soldiers. They're living by the sword. They're living by the sword. This what you find us on the paintings of the tombs in Egypt. We're in servitude. You find them doing exactly what they were blessed with. See that? It says Asiatic soldiers. It says 1950 BC. That's roughly the same time frame right there. So
this is pretty much what's been like around the Ptolemaic Empire.
yeah.
I mean, it shows them
Right.
as so-called white men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
With red hair.
Yeah.
With red hair and swords and spears in their hand.
The only thing is they taking on Egyptian customs. It was their custom to shave down. That was an Egyptian custom to be clean shaven.
They was in Egypt. They was domesticated.
Yeah.
Remember they just like that swine in your farm. He ain't got no hair. He's pink all over. Man, once he get into the wild, he gets hairy, and you know him as a boar or a hog or what they
a
call
feral pig.
Yeah.
Am I having a moment of deja vu, or did we go over
Last week, yeah, but we had problems and we didn't get to go through it. So we're trying to, we don't want to just skip to where we was at because there was a lot of
We'll
good
make a
good meat on
distinction
it.
here because, of course, Israel, we had the swords too, right?
Con,
All
definitely.
nations had the sword and everything.
Yeah.
But what's the difference is that he used his in wickedness, right? He used his, like you said, in tyranny.
so
Right.
the consequences on it?
Right. Israel, we used ours for our protection. When we had to go out to battle when the enemy came against us, there's a difference. Understand?
He said innocent blood.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And his motive has been to, by his sword, take the earth, knowing that it was given to his brother. Remember, they know
Can I
the
just
earth was
read one
given to my brother. Yeah, come on.
Y'all can Micah, what is it, Micah 12:2 or 2:12? One of them. Woe unto him that that taketh the house by
Covered this.
Is it 12:2?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, okay, two and
Definitely
2.
2 and 1.
2 and 2.
Okay, I got 2, 1 to 3 highlighted.
Okay, come.
The book of Micah, chapter 2, 1 to 3. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil.
And this, I heard a family, right? Not an individual. It said a family.
And his heritage.
And that goes back, covet fields and take them by violence. This goes back to, if not them, who? Who is doing that today in the earth?
And that goes back to covering the faces of the judges. Like you seen that with the Native Americans, especially like throughout Canada. They said they're going to take the Indian out of the man and lead the man. And they taught them the so-called French and Indian customs, shaved them down and made them as if they were so-called white men. You know what I mean?
He's oppressing them men
and their
man in his heritage.
And their heritage
was a sword. See, Israel we didn't do that, even though we had the sword. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm. And then they took the lands and said that it was a curse for us to remove a man's monument. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And out there, they try to take the Keystone Pipeline and run it through the so-called Native American man's cemeteries and stuff out west, the Keystone and the Dakota Pipeline. You know what I mean? Just so they could run oil through these cemeteries and stuff like that. And they sick the dogs on them just like the Civil Rights Movement. They sick dogs on them. They spray mace on them from helicopters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just so they could take the land. That's an evil covetousness right there. And oppressing the man and their heritage.
Yep. If not them, who? Let's go back. Oh, not that. So like 2 Chronicles 21, 5, 8 to 10, just to show when Esau broke the yoke off of his neck. This is during the time of King Jehoram. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 21, 5, 8, and 10.
5, then 8 to 10. Verse 5, then jump to 8 to 10.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 21, verse 5. Jehoram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. Verse 8. In his days, the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah and made themselves a king. Then Jehoram went forth with his princes and all his chariots with him. And he rose up by night and smote the Edomites, which compassed him in, and the captains of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. The same time also did the Libnah revolt from under the hand, because he had forsaken.
That's enough. But so this is when the Edomites, they broke the yoke. And then from that time forth, they was trying to do what? Kill Jacob, right? Even we saw, I'm not going to go there, but remember the previous classes when we went into how, even through the scriptures, you see how he was profane and fornicator. And also we showed a little bit of how he was blessed with the sword, and that all the kingdoms that we was, we suffered under before they even got empowered, Esau had his part in them. Like, remember the Babylonian kingdom? He was the general that burnt the city. Remember in the Assyrian kingdom, right? Agag, the Macedonian. Why was Agag mad that Mordecai had Why was Agag mad that Mordecai had told on the two servants that were going to kill the king? Who remembers? They were Macedonians. He was mad that he had told on them because he was trying to take over even then, from the time he broke his yoke up to today. So then the next scripture we're going to go to is fast forwarded a little bit past the time of the Assyrian kingdom, the Babylonian kingdom, which, like I said, we touched on at the other class, right? Y'all remember? Fast forward to Alexander. They're coming. This is where you see the Edomites starting to take over the world with Alexander the Not Great, the Macedonian. First Maccabees 1.
Not great.
Not great. He was not great. He was laying with little boys and all type of nasty stuff, man. He was not great.
First Maccabees 1:1-4.
The book of First Maccabees,
This
chapter
is
1, 1 to
Esau
4.
fulfilling the prophecy and his blessing that his father gave him.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chedum, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
And has anybody ever came out and said, we don't descend from them people? No. They idolize this man because he's they're great, which we know as the not great. He's great to them, though. Yeah. Go ahead.
And made many wars.
Hold up. Yeah, this map didn't come up last week, so this is another reason why it's clear. So where's Macedonian? Because we already proved that the Macedonians was Esau, and that's who was running the show in Greece and conquered Greece and started to conquer the known world, Macedonia. Then we also know the Romans are Edomites. Macedonia is right here in between.
Salakia. And this also shows that they're taking over all the isles of the Gentiles right here too as well.
Yep.
So everybody in this area right here, even on down here into some parts of Arabia and Egypt, this was their empire. So these people, some of these people is Edomites too. Some of these people is Edomites.
And this map is of the 7 churches and Paul's ministry as well. This is where his ministry would be. We know he was going to the Israelites that was in Esau's kingdom. See that? You were saying something?
No, thank you for reading.
Oh, Khan. Yeah, this is the map. But yeah, so this is where the Macedonia is, right between Italy and Greece.
Yeah.
You know, so, and we know the Macedonians are Edomites. Verse 2 for First Maccabees.
Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations.
This is Alexander. He went to the ends of the earth.
Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him.
And this is what we read in Genesis 29:30. And why you think that it was emphasized? Why did our ancestors write this history, make sure we had this history, and then the Most High make sure it got up to us present day? Why? So that we know, if not, who is he? Yeah, for our learning. We just read Alexander, they're great, that we know not great. We just read him fulfilling that promise or blessing that Esau got back that we just read from Isaac. We just read it. The fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven. Alexander the Great went to all the ends of the earth, conquering and spoiling nations.
Yeah.
By the sword, this statue they have shows it. On his horse with his sword in hand, conquering the known earth. Alexander, the not great Macedonian Edomite. Not great Macedonian Edomite. Because they'll tell you he's a Macedonian slogan in movies. We had to match up that Macedonians are Edomites. So
I was just saying that they, when you read in history, the Israelite high priest, when Alexander came into Judea, came into Israel, the Israelite high priest greeted him, and they showed him in prophecy who he was going to be, and he pretty much bowed down to them.
That's in the Josephus.
He pretty much
I ain't even got it with me, but it's in there.
He respected the high priest of Israel, and they showed him he's going to be the he-goat.
Right, the priest brought that out to him. Because he had actually had that dream, I think.
Yeah, I think.
And the priest told him what it meant.
What it meant. They broke it down to him. So this was prophecy, like the Most High said. gonna break that yoke. And he read in history how the yoke was broken. And it's bound to happen.
I love when she come gunning.
But I don't know where it says, so that'll take too much time to find it.
Too much time. We got
Well, yeah, we'll put it in a future lesson, though.
All right, well,
I'll even add it to this for next time.
It's in
Next
the
go around.
Josephus, though.
It's in the Josephus.
He came to the high priest, and the high priest looked, we look magnificent, with our vestments and, you know what I'm saying? And there's 12 stones on the high priest and all that. And when he seen the high priest, Alexander bowed down. And his men said, "What are you doing, Alexander? Don't bow down to them." Bow down. Couldn't help himself.
He had seen it in the dream, like the night before.
They greeted him with a parade.
So, like,
exactly.
All of Israel.
Just to show that the heart of the king is in the hands of the Most High. Alexander, he didn't know that he was fulfilling prophecy that's going to bring his people to the end of the world and their own destruction. He didn't know that. He just thought he was taking over the earth, and this vision that he had solidified his what he was doing, his taking arms. Yeah. So go from there to same book, chapter 8, verse 1 to 11. We're going to read the same thing about the Romans and their greatness, how they was taking over the world with the sword, how they were even greater than the Greeks. By what? By their sword.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 1 to 11. Now Judas had heard of the Romans that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that join themselves unto them, and make a league of amity with all that came unto them, in that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and bought them under tribute, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold.
They was
which
taking
is there.
They was taking the fatness of the earth and do a heaven. See that? Go ahead.
And that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them.
Policy and patience, their lies and their false dealings. Go ahead.
And conquered all the place, though it were very far from them. And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Besides this, how they had discomfited in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Sidonians, with others that lifted up themselves against them and had overcome them. How also Antiochus, the king of Asia, that came against them in battle, having 120 elephants with horsemen and chariots, and a very great army, was discomfited by them. And how?
Can I make a point?
Good.
I don't want you to read too far before I make the point, but in we were talking about Alexander the Great in Daniel 8 and 5. It tells you about the he-goat, and it brings out the point how it was gonna be prophesied he would take over the whole earth. And it says, I just want to read it right quick. It says Daniel 8 and 5, and as I was considering, behold, and he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth. See? And touched not the ground, meaning he wasn't going to be destroyed. Nobody's going to be able to take Alexander the Greek in battle. Okay, touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, meaning who it is. It's talking about Alexander.
Right.
A notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram. The ram is who? The Persian and the Greek Empire. Persian and Mede Empire. Okay. Came to the ram that had two horns, the Persians and the Mede, two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him, and in the fury of his power. So Alexander the Greek, when he seen the Persian Mede Empire, And Alexander's army wasn't as big as the Persian Medo Empire. Okay, the Persian Medo Empire had like a, you could like a man army, put it like that. It was like big.
Yeah.
Alexander didn't care. He ran into them with all his fury, man, and slew the king, the Persian Empire at the time. See, you got to read the history. It's like fascinating. Wasn't going to be stopped, but that was the he-goat, and that's what those high priests prophesied. That this is you, and you're going to do this.
So he represents the ego?
Yeah. And when you read in Daniel 8 and the 5th and 6th verse, that's Alexander the Greek, that he-goat.
Back to this, verse 7.
Verse 7. And how they took him alive and covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay a great tribute and give hostages, and that which was agreed upon. And the country of India and Media and Lydia and of the goodliest countries which they took of him and gave to him Eumenes.
Gave the king Eumenes.
Moreover, how the Grecians had determined to come and destroy them, and that they, having knowledge thereof, sent against them a certain captain, and fighting with them, slew many of them, and carried away captives their wives and their children, and spoiled them, and took possessions of the lands, and pulled down their strongholds, and brought them to be their servants unto this day.
Same way as today. You have one Edomite kingdom, this great war, and then another one just even better with that sword and takes over them. Because Esau, he's not going to share. Esau wants the top spot by that sword, even if it's other Edomites. Go ahead.
It was told him besides how they destroyed and brought under their dominion all other kingdoms and isles that at any time resisted them. But with their friends and such as relied upon them, they kept amity, and they that had conquered kingdoms both far and nigh, insomuch as all that heard of their name were afraid of them.
What verse was that? 12. Oh, Salakia. Revelation 13, it just shows that this same kingdom would rise again on the earth, because that's who is in control of America today. It's Rome all over, and it was prophesied that Rome would rise again. All these traits that we're seeing with Rome, we saw with who? We saw today with America.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Roman Empire.
On 4, it says by his policies and patience that he conquered. Right? That word policy I seen in the Catholic Bible, it says by his embargoes.
Embargo.
And that's what they use today. Being able to block a man from being able to sell his resources with his navy and be able to get fair trade.
And they'll change it however it suits them. If something needs to be changed, they'll just change it at will. Everything, nothing is solid, set in stone. Like
they
how
change
those
policies, taxes, and tariffs.
Go ahead. Good point. Revelation 13, 1-8.
Yeah, some other.
Yeah, I do, but I don't know if you should read that one first or the one I got. But y'all want me
Is
to
it Revelation 12? Because we're going there too.
No, this is in Daniel 7 and 7. But this is good. This goes to what he was bringing out about the Roman Empire conquered everything. So he prophesied that they were going to take over everything and leave nothing behind. All nations and their army was so dreadful that that the coming of the Roman army, because it was so dreadful, and they had an organized army.
Yeah, I got that. I got that as the precept down in here.
A legion was like 2,000 men. It was so organized when they would march that even the least of the army was strong. It was like iron. The scripture was like iron. You couldn't penetrate it. Okay. So the Most High really gave Esau that sword and that ability to rule this earth. But of course, again, the Most High said, like Pharaoh, I raised thee up just so I can show my power in thee. That's why the Most High made him so strong. So I just want to read this. It says, Daniel 7:7. After this, I saw in the night vision. This is Daniel seeing the vision of the Roman army.
Right.
And behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. Okay, and strong exceedingly. So read history about the Roman army, what he's going over. And it had great iron teeth, right? It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet, meaning there was nothing left
Mhm.
of all the nations, the small little towns, villages. They took it all over, took over all the earth, all the known earth, everything.
All of it,
Everything,
They
basically came in. The Roman Empire basically came into like Pompeii. We're talking about Pompeii. Okay, this is around 63 BC or so.
Yeah.
Okay, and they took over everything.
the same way they did today.
Yeah,
Same way.
same way.
And that was the time of the Iron Age.
Yeah.
Had the iron, so they could crush any of
Crushed everything. Yeah,
That was the Iron Age.
yeah, crushed everything. And it says, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. And the 10 horns go into something else. Okay, 10 horns is later. But go ahead.
The book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 1 through 8. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw beasts rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
There you go.
And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Mm-hmm.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power.
This is just describing everything the elder just brought out, how great they were in war, how vicious they were. Go ahead.
And the lion, the bear, okay, those symbols of animals, when you read in Daniel, those nations, those empires that were before the Roman Empire had those same symbols.
Mm-hmm.
So it's showing you what? That the Roman Empire even took over them.
Yeah, he conquered it all.
Yeah,
He conquered everything.
Yeah.
And they absorbed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
What?
And his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wandered after the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies.
And they said it was wounded, the Roman kingdom ended, and it was healed. See that?
Yeah.
Keep going.
You read about the Renaissance.
And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
And who's the leader in all blasphemies against the Bible and God?
Yes.
Exactly.
And that 42 months is talking about the last 3.5 years of the Renaissance, the Roman Empire coming back. And that's what the elite are trying to gain now. They're trying to gain the coming back of the Roman Empire. Okay? They want the Roman Empire to come back to its height. And so you had the Renaissance from around 1492 up until now, but they want it now to come back where everything is like old Rome, where everything is destroyed, and that iron teeth, that they want the 10 horns to come back, which is like these 10 leaders, these 10 kings. They want all that to come back, but they want to do it under what? Satanism.
Come,
The Luciferian hierarchy doctrine.
come the dragon.
As the verse coming up, you
Yeah.
mentioned the Renaissance. Go ahead, read 7.
Okay, I'm gonna say.
Watch verse 7. Real quick.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Yahweh, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
So they did that in the time of the beginning of the millennium. And then the Renaissance, the same thing. It's the wound being healed, making war with the saints. That's what the Renaissance was about. We saw the wild men coming out of the Caucasus Mountains and trying to kill the black nobility, the black kings, and take over Europe. That's the Renaissance period. So they were making war with the saints. We know the saints being the Israelites. Go ahead.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
So this image shows when the Romans first took over Jerusalem, they first conquered the saints, right? And they stole everything from the temple. They burned Jerusalem.
70 AD.
Right, 70 AD.
That's the archetype.
So
Yeah.
right. So then the Renaissance just coming back and doing the same thing. This time it just was no temple. They already have that, but they made war with the saints all over again the same way during the first century and on. They was making war with the saints. Them same people would come back who are the Romans. Those are the Edomites, come back in the Renaissance doing the same thing,
Right.
making war with the saints, overcoming the saints, and then being given dominion of the whole world. We just read that being the Roman kingdom back on earth again.
Because also, when you know, reading that saying that they're going to come back and take over the whole earth again, but under the development and resurgence of the Roman Empire. So when you hear all this talk about China wants to rule, China ain't gonna rule nothing. Understand? Russia by themselves ain't gonna rule nothing. All this, no, it's going to be that you read in the scriptures. Can't understand? And then of course that's leading to the Antichrist and all that. But still, it's going to be that resurgence of the Roman Empire. That's what's coming. Understand? All these other nations trying to get nuclear bombs, think they're gonna rule next. No, it ain't gonna be nothing. It's gonna be the Roman Empire, the resurgence, and then after that great tribulation period, which was that the last 3.5 years of the tribulation period. Then that's when Yahushua comes and destroy the elite of Esau's world and so forth, the dragon. So it ain't gonna be all that crap that you hear in the news and politics. Come with the scriptures say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're back in First Maccabees. We're going to prove even further by the characteristics of this Roman Empire. We're going to read down more. We're going to prove,
and I got one too in the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
We're going to prove further who's Esau today by the.
Hold the chair this way. Nothing big.
First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 14, 16. Let's keep going. Like we gotta get through this.
Book of First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 14.
So this is more of the characteristics of the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown or was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby. Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house wherein 300.
So they instituted the senate house. They started up having a senate house. The Romans. Go ahead.
Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house wherein 320 men sat in council daily, consulted the way for the people to the end they might be well ordered.
Go ahead.
And that they committed their government to one man every year who ruled over all the country. And
so they committed their government to one man. So they had a senate and they didn't have a king. They committed their government to one man every year. Sounds similar, don't it? Go ahead.
And that all were obedient to that one, and that there was neither envy nor emulation among them.
All right, hold up. So the Roman Senate house.
Yeah, just like
the
capital.
DC capital.
Yeah.
Here's that was the outside. Here's the inside. Right? Now up to today, the DC, the Senate House in DC. Same infrastructure outside and inside. See that? Revelation 13, 9 to 12.
The book of Revelation 13, 9 and 12. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Yeah, and don't America have two horns, Democrats and Republicans, and speak like a goddamn dragon? Yeah, go ahead. 12.
And he exercises all the power of the first beast
Same power as Rome. Go ahead.
before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwelleth therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Now I'll go. Oh, just some images. So today, this is them. This is them expert in war and genocide, the same as the Romans. They everywhere they go, conquering the known world.
They killed all the Tasmanians.
Killed all of them. And with the sword, you see it in the image. The Australian genocide came over there with the sword, killing and taking everything. Did it in Africa. They did it in Asia. They did it over here in the Americas.
It was the whole earth.
All with the sword. And all the same nation of people taking over the whole earth. Here they is killing the saints. This is some more European Renaissance art. See, how did Europe become what? How did the image, when you think of a European in Europe, how did the image of these blind people come into your mind? Because before it came to your mind, they was doing this and enslaving the real rulers of Europe. That you see right there, cutting the heads off. See that? White supremacy, it says on there. This is white supremacy. The real persecutor of the Jews. Because we know that's the real Jews right there. We went to Bartholomew de las Casas. We're not going to read all the inserts for time, but this book, it gives a detail of how they took over the Americas. It's called A Short Account of the Destruction of the Indies by Bartholomew de las Casas. He was there. He was like a friar or something, and he wrote letters back to the king and queen of Spain, just letting them know all their different exploits, taking over the natives in the land. So the first page we'll go to, we'll just read this one page, then we'll go down, skip a few. So page 12.
When you finish that one,
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go through a couple of the traits of them today, and then we'll go back to the Bible, if that's all right.
Page 12. The Spaniards first assaulted the innocent sheep as in premonition. Like most cruel and hungry tigers, wolves, and lions, studying nothing for 40 years after their first landing, but the massacre of these wretches whom they have so inhumanely and barbarously butchered and harassed with several kinds of torments never before known or heard, of which you shall have some account in the following discourse, that 3 millions of people which lived in Hispaniola itself, there is at present only a remnant of scarcely 300. So the Isle of Cuba, which extends as far as Valladolid in Spain, is distant from Rome, is now uncultivated like a desert and entombed in its own ruins. You may also find the Isles of St. John and Jamaica, both large and fruitful places, uninhabited and desolate.
So they, with the sword, they slaughtered everything they could, took enslavement to rest, and stole all the lands and resources. They started there in the islands of Hispaniola, and that's how they got the South Americas, all the rest of the islands, and that's how they got the North Americas. And he goes through a lot in this book. We can't read them all for time's sake, but he goes through the whole, he goes through region by region. If you get this book, he goes by region, even documents the natives going into slave, putting them on slave ships. He documents it. So just get this book, you'll have arguments for the cats that say, oh, the natives, they never went into slavery. Yes, they did. And they went on ships.
They took them back to Spain.
They went to them back to Spain. They took them to other parts of America. They did, yeah. They put them on them.
Could you repeat the name of the book, please?
Destruction of the Indies. Destruction, does it say West Indies?
No,
Just a short account of the destruction of the Indies by Bartholomew de las Casas. He was a Portuguese friar or something.
And they marched their way That's why it took them hundreds of years. They marched their way from Hispaniola, the Caribbean, the Antilles, the Caribbean, and then of course you got the bottom tip of South America. Then marched, and then you had, of course, the Spanish conquistadors. They started coming after Columbus. They marched their way up. They destroyed the Mayans, the Incas, marched their way up all through South America. You had Cortez, you had Magellan, you had who else? America Vespucci, marched their way on, and then they went into the Aztecs, the Mexicans, right? Marched their way on up, all the way on up. Then they even went into up through Central America, then of course North America, then all the way up into Canada. So they marched their way all the way up to there, man. Yeah, they was busy out. Good, like you said, with that sword out.
And this is how they became
Yes.
Hispanics and Latinos.
Exactly. That's how they became that. Unbelievable.
Go ahead, read that, and I'm gonna read this. Another page in the book. He gives this, and we're gonna match that up to Esau. Watch. Go ahead, read that.
They snatched young babies from the mother's
This is
breast
the Spaniards.
and then bashed the brains out of those innocents against the rocks.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Others they cast into the rivers, scoffing and jeering them.
So they did something they said Esau would do. Psalm 1, I'm gonna read it real quick. Psalm 137, verse 7-8 says, "Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof." And raise it means destroy it to the ground. That's what they did in the Americas. Just like over in West Coast of Africa, over in Jerusalem, 70 AD, they said, raise it to the foundation thereof. It says the children of Edom. Verse 8, "O daughter of Babylon," which we know this is modern day mystery Babylon where we're at today. It says Esau is, "O daughter of Babylon." Why, "O daughter of Babylon"? Because they're also the Babylonian kingdom back on this earth again. Mystery Babylon. That's why it's daughter of Babylon. "Who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us." So that's saying this is how they served us. We're about to read it. "Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone." So we read here that Bartholomew de las Casas, he gave the eyewitness account. They was coming over here to Americas, bashing the babies against the stones. Davis gave us the prophecy that they would be rewarded the same way they treated us, which was to bash babies' heads against the stone. If not, and who is he? Right?
I got a precept.
I don't know if we got time.
It's quick.
Go ahead, hit it quick.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6. We're going to start at verse 8, and it says, "Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the present misery. For there were 2 women bought who had circumcised their children, whom when they had openly led round about the city, the babes handing at their breasts, they cast them down headlong from the wall. And others that had run together into the caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly, being discovered by Philip, were all burnt together because they had made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. So that's the children being bashed headlong upside the wall because they decided they were going to keep the Sabbath day. That's prophecy in itself to Esau. So it can't be denied who they are. It cannot be denied. I don't know who these people on the internet saying Esau's not the so-called white man. You know, there's a brother by the name of Truth Unedited. He bought us some good stuff, but he bought. Come on, man, you can't say.
Did he bring out any of this? Did he show?
He didn't bring none of this.
Like you got to show. That's why Job said, "If not him, who is he?" You got to match up the characteristics and prophecy.
And on top of that, the brother's teaching from the book of Joshua, and then Joshua points them out as being Esau. These same people, we bringing it out, and we don't even need the book of Joshua. We bringing out enough information without the book of Joshua, and we showing you within the confines of the 66 books and the Apocrypha that this man is Esau.
From there, let's go to this.
Another judgment, right?
Who? Bartholomew?
Nah, yeah, video I gave you last week about if anybody joins this.
I didn't get to
Oh
see it.
yeah.
Yeah, as long as you speak against this truth, they're gonna set you up with the house and the cars and all that.
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah,
Yeah, that dude.
yeah. But at
Let's
the
keep
same
going, though.
time, he's saying that the Khazars joined with Esau, but he's not saying all of the Europeans joined with Esau.
Let's keep going.
Come on,
We
let's
gotta
go.
keep
Where we
going.
at?
Now the book, The Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link. The Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link,
Where we at?
by Lee Cummings. He's going to deal with England. How did how did Great Britain go from that smooth man Jacob ruled by black kings and nobility to what you have today in England? So it's page. I don't know the page, but you got a picture of. This is just a picture of King Charles, who was the son of King James. This image is on the cover of a book wrote in 1651 called Leviathan. As you see, King James' son Charles I was a Negro. That's a drawing of a Negro.
And this is a page 10 of the Negro Question
It
4.
says, when the English overran the country, they hung and decapitated men, raped the women, burned the citizens at the stakes, and dashed the children against the stones. The same characteristics, right? Go down.
And it's showing repetitively. This is a thing that they like to do. They getting their rocks off doing this thing to our children. They getting their rocks off doing it. And then it showed you in the previous verse they read, they was casting children in the water. They did it in Egypt. They did it in Florida as gator bait. They did it with their children there too. They repeating this. It's something that they enjoy doing.
And remember, Spain was taken over the same way. Yeah, but we're dealing with mainly England because England is who created America. But it's all Edomites. We dealt with Spain with what they did in the America. So it's no need to show how they did the Spanish Inquisition. We're dealing with England with this book. And this is a photo of same son of King James, Charles I, and his execution. It's on the cover of a book called Oliver Cromwell in Perspective at his execution. That's a picture of him, obviously a so-called black man or Negro. The son of King James I, who was a so-called black man. So that's showing them we're going to deal with their taking over. So that's just to show that King James, his son, nobility, the people in rulership, there was blacks in England before who? Oliver Cromwell. So the same book, Oliver Cromwell in Ireland. Read the highlighted part. The black Irish that he didn't kill, he sold into the slave trade. So Oliver Cromwell went into England, slaughtering, killing, and enslaving black people. In 1641, Cromwell had 300 black Irish sold into the North American Atlantic slave trade. And in 1650, he had 100,000 Irish Scottish children sold into Barbados. Oliver Cromwell, Attica 6, and we're going to prove that. I added the documents to prove slave ships and black and brown people on slave ships from the British Islands. Oliver Cromwell wrote an edict. It said, those who fail to transplant themselves to Connaught or Clare, that sounds like how they sent the Native Americans on reservations, don't it? So those that would not transplant themselves there within 6 months shall be guilty of high treason. You will then be sent into America or some other part beyond the sea. So real quick, What was the beliefs and societal standards of these Black Europeans? You'll have to get it because those images didn't download. But they're the Jacobites, as they were called, the Black Kings of England, the Stuarts, they were also called Jacobites. That's funny because Israel is who? Jacob. So they have wrote an agreement between the three countries, you know, kind of like a peace agreement and an agreement of how they would serve their religious practices, right? It's called the Solemn League Assembly, Solemn League Covenant. And if you can read it, this is the characteristics and what they were on, the Blacks of England.
We are right here.
So you're going to start up here. And we're going to breeze through it and read it fast.
The Negro question,
But,
part 4, the missing link, page 17, first paragraph. A solemn league and covenant for reformation and defense of religion, the honor and happiness of the king, and the peace and safety of the three kingdoms of England, Scotland, and Ireland. We noblemen, barons, knights, gentlemen, citizens, burgesses, ministers of the gospel, and commons of all sorts in the kingdoms of England, Scotland, and Ireland, by the providence of Yahweh, living under one king, and being of one reformed religion, having before our eyes the glory of Yahweh, and the advancement of the kingdom of our Lord and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach.
So they was followers of Yahushua and they was followers of the Bible. We're going to see that. Go ahead.
The honor and happiness of the king's majesty and his posterity, and the true public liberty, safety, and peace of the kingdoms wherein everyone's private condition is included, and calling to mind the treacherous and bloody plots, conspiracies, attempts, and practices of the enemies of Yahweh against the true religion and the professors thereof.
He's talking about them so-called white people that was trying to take over, and the Catholic Church. He was against the Catholic Church. He was against the popery, the popes. He was against that because they wasn't teaching the actual Bible. They was teaching everything they teach now. Idolatry, white Jesus, not following the laws of God. Go ahead.
Especially in these three kingdoms ever since the reformation of religion, and how much their rage, power, and presumption are of late and at this time increased and exercised, whereof the deplorable estate of the church and kingdom of Ireland, the distressed estate of the church and kingdom of England, and the dangerous estate of the church and kingdom of Scotland are present and public testimonies we have now at last, after other means of supplication, remonstrance, protestations, and sufferings for the preservation of ourselves and our religion from utter ruin and destruction, according to the commendable practice of these kingdoms in former times, and the example of Yahweh's people in other nations. After mature deliberation,
He's letting you know that God's people are in other nations and that they're God's people. Go ahead.
Resolved and determined to enter into a mutual solemn league and covenant.
Next page. Read down to here.
Wherein we all subscribe, and each one of us for himself with our hands lifted up to the Most High Yahweh, do swear that we shall in like manner, without respect of persons,
that's on the page screen if y'all want to read along.
This the extirpation of popery, prelacy, that is church's government by archbishops, bishops, their chancellors, and commissionaries, deans, and chapters, archdeacons, and all other ecclesiastical officers, depending on their hierarchy.
It was against everything that the Edomites was bringing in. Keep going.
Superstition, heresy, schisms, profaneness, and whatever shall be found to be contrary to sound doctrine and the power of godliness.
And if you read his book, Basilicon Duran, his letter to his son All through that book, he's instructing him to follow what the Bible actually says, to follow the laws of God, to keep the standard of the laws, statutes, commandments, and in Yahushua Mashiach. But they are in this time still using Christ. But this is what they was about. They was against the Edomite doctrines. Keep going to the next page. And it's up on the screen. Read the highlighted part.
Slakia, humbly beseeching Yahweh to strengthen us by his Holy Spirit for this end, and to bless our desires and proceedings with such success as may be a deliverance and safety to his people.
To his people who are the Israelites. Go ahead.
And encouragement to Christian churches groaning under or in danger of the yoke of anti-Christian tyranny.
What the Edomites was coming in with and sending Oliver Cromwell to lead up their army and slaughter and kill and enslave all the blacks of the British Isles and Great Britain. Read the point. The kings of Scotland.
The kings of Scotland, Ireland, and Britain are calling
the black kings of Scotland, Ireland, and Britain. Yep.
Are calling the Pope and Catholic institutions antichrist.
It was about that. It appears that the Jacobites and the Covenanters were walking in the commandments of the God of Israel. See that? Read this highlighted part.
Back to Constantine, when he arrived in Nicaea to ratify the change of the Sabbath to Sunday, the only nation that refused to send delegate or attend was the British Isles.
This is back further, the British Isles, because it was already blacks ruling Britain during the time of Constantine, and they refused to send delegates. Go ahead.
The British Isles were Ireland, Scotland, and Britain. England and all these nations were black until the white English invasion of 449 AD.
So that's when they started coming in to try and take over. Not until the Renaissance period were they able to succeed. From there, here's some images of Oliver Cromwell and his Edomite army was doing. Same images you'll find on the destruction of the Indies. Same things. Got the baby on the top of the pitchfork. Companies of the rebels meeting with the English, fleeing for their lives, falling down before them, crying for mercy, thrust something into their children's bellies and threw them into the water. I brought this out last week. Here's one. It said, English Protestants stripped naked and turned into the mountains in the frost and snow, whereof many hundreds are perished to death, and many lying dead in ditches, and savages upbraided them, saying, now are ye wild Irish as well as we. So it said Jacob is a plain man and a smooth man, but who was the wild man? Esau. They said while they were doing this, now are y'all like us, wild men. That's telling in itself. So they was torturing people, burning their limbs, putting them on the rack, flaying them. All these things that you're seeing here, when you look up the images for destruction of the Indies, you find the same thing with the natives of the Americas. So it's the same people and it's the same blessing, and it's just showing exactly who they are. These are Edomites. Cutting, yeah, exactly. He's throwing a baby in the fire. This time it ain't stones. They were throwing them into the flames as well. Cut them out, pass them, or throw them into the flames, or throw them into the river. There's bashing them against the tree. That's a building, stone building.
this is a different
This
manner of
this is the massacre of, I think it's a massacre of Ireland, 1651 or so. These are your Edomites today.
Con. When we went to the last Hebrew summit, when we was in Tampa, they were celebrating a celebration called Mariposa. And it was when the Spaniards, they had taken over the West Indies and the Caribbean islands and stuff. And they used to bet and cut women's babies out, whether it was male or female, in their stomach. And this is what people go to Tampa to celebrate. You know what I mean? In January, celebrate Mariposa. And that's what they was doing, being pirates and cutting the babies out of women's stomach and betting whether it was a male or a female.
From there, this book. This is the proof. This is the manuscript showing who was going on slave ships. Those left alive of the blacks in England, they wasn't murdered and slaughtered. They were sent into slavery. This book is called Jacobite Gleanings from State Manuscripts. It was wrote in short sketches of Jacobites, the transportations in 1745. Because even all the way up to the 1700s, they were still taking slaves from England. That's what they teach us, just the west coast of Africa. They would take a ship from England with blacks on the slave ship, then hit up the west coast of Africa to get more, and then come across here, if they didn't go straight from England. So watch. By J. Macbeth Forbes. All right, can you see that?
There you go. Blow that
Read
up.
the highlighted part.
Life on shipboard was terrible torture, and from the
Let's talk about the experience on the slave ships they got put on.
life on shipboard was a terrible torture, and from the excessive numbers crowded into a very limited space, one could readily realize the meaning of the words cabin, cribbed, confined. The Pamela, a small vessel, had 72 prisoners, of whom 18 were marked as in the last stage of a violent fever. Other 20 were ill but could move about. While sickness had shown itself among the guard and crew, this state of things was duly reported to the authorities, and a surgeon, Mr. Minshaw, was sent to the Woolwich to examine the state of the prisoners on board that vessel. His official account, amplified, confirms that has been by Jacobite writers.
Said by Jacobite writers. Go ahead.
About life on board these
Sounds
prison
just
ships.
like the slave ships we know of. Go ahead.
On Thursday night, the 20th of August, 1746, between 8 and 9 o'clock, I went on board the Pamela, saw a commanding officer who appointed next morning at 6 to inspect prisoners, at which time I attended, and on looking down into the hold, was saluted with such an intolerable smell that it was like to overcome me, though I was provided with proper herbs and my nostrils stuffed therewith. After seating ourselves in the quarter deck, 54 prisoners came up, many of whom seemed very ill, as appeared by their countenance, and snail creep pace in ascending the ladder being.
Okay, that's enough there. Page 39, read the highlighted part.
Page 39. As to the clemency of true transportation, Burton talks of 700 rebel prisoners taken at Preston and sold as slaves to the West Indian merchant in 1716.
Wow, so who was being sold into the West Indies? Was it white people? No, but they was coming from England, though, where the American school system taught us that was full of white people and ruled by white people. And King James was a white man. Nah, they lied just like they done from the womb. That was a great scripture you brought out earlier. Read the highlighted part again.
Some of the rebel prisoners of the castle of Chester were to be transported to some port of the West Indies, and they thought it would be less expensive if they were conveyed from that seaport. The expense of transporting from Chester had been therefore a pound, like 5 pounds
a piece.
A piece, besides cost of conveyance of Liverpool.
To where? Liverpool.
Yes.
That's England. This read that highlighted part.
The present estimate was to transport prisoners to Jamaica or the West Indies at £5 a head.
Mhm.
On the 24th of March, 1719, Jonathan Forward Merchant, London, offered to transport to the colonies and plantation in America.
Oh, also Jamaica, the West Indies, and where else? Virginia and the colonies. Also the colonies from where? England.
Criminals at £5 a head or 30 and upwards at £3 a head, his wholesale price.
So this is who was being conquered and taken over from England by Oliver Cromwell. Here's some descriptions. This is a list and description of prisoners on board the Liverpool ship, the ship at Liverpool called the Veteran. This is a manifesto. And it gives you descriptions. See, it gives you the name all the way in the left, and then it gives you a description all the way to the right. I got that highlighted. So this is what they look like. See, and you go up and all the way down. Listen to this. Robert Adam, he was brown. This dude was black, curly hair. The next one under, brown. Black Ruddy. Hold up. Ruddy, but black. Brown. Do, I believe, means ditto, which is the same thing. So we're going to do, ditto. Then you got one with red hair. Don't even say red skin. So he could have been light skinned. We don't know. Ruddy, black, brown, black, brown, black, brown, black.
Were these slaves?
Yeah, these are slaves from England.
Enslaved.
This is the manifesto with their names, and then all over it describes their appearance. Yeah. It even describes, I think, their professions. They're laborer, servant, weaver. You know, we knew how to do things. We wasn't savages.
Tallow handler.
You got black, brown.
Ruddy. David was ruddy.
Black hair, brown. Kind. The one said black and ruddy.
And ruddy.
One of them said black, ruddy.
So that means he was black and very handsome.
Yeah.
He was black and what?
Very
Handsome.
handsome.
Black. Right here.
Light skin. Ruddy is like light skin.
No, but they had brown on there describing their depiction, so it said that he was black and ruddy.
Yeah.
So that means he was black and handsome.
Mm-hmm.
That's what ready means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
In
Yeah.
the Old Testament,
A lot of times. It's a word you can use. That's one of the applications for it.
Yeah.
That's why it's like context is key. We'd already described him as black and then ruddy, so you know it's got to be handsome. Because they're using black as dark brown. Because if they wouldn't be describing some of them as brown. So they're using black and brown.
So they use that word ruddy for as a color, same color as rust.
Oh, absolutely.
That too. That's why context is key.
Yeah, like you said, it depends on the context of what they're using it for.
Look, then one that says dark complexion. See down there?
Yeah.
Dark complexion.
And then it says black, lusty, and ruddy.
Mm-hmm. That means
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
big. Lusty is like
Big.
fat. Lusty.
No,
when
it's,
they're
it's a
lusty.
female. It's
Well,
Eliza M. Fan.
she was lusty, so she is, you know.
Yeah. They talking about her body. That means he was going to lust after her.
You know, you got fair complexion, so you had light-skinned
Light
people.
skin. Yeah.
But you see, most were black or brown or black ruddy. This is your slaves from England.
That pop pig is a red bone with freckles.
These were ships coming
Right.
from England.
Right.
Excuse me, sir?
These were ships
From
coming
England,
From
kind.
England, Liverpool.
To the Americans, yeah. The ship manifesto. Dark complexion. Dark. Brown. Dark. Then one fair. Brown. Swarthy.
And they considered that
Sandy
Amalek
complexion.
was
Dark.
ahead of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So-called Jew. He ran the slave trade.
That's another book. I didn't get any excerpts out of it, but they got the book. You probably know it. What's it called? The Jew and the slave trade.
The secret
Christopher.
Secret
Yeah,
relationship
yeah.
between blacks and Jews.
That one. Then there's another one that says something about. It's got Christopher Columbus in the header, and it's like the involvement of Jews in slave trade. I forget. I got it home. If you want me to send it to you, I can. But that goes through what you just brought out. Goes through some details in that. Yeah, the involvement of the small hats in the slave trade.
You made mention of that last week.
Con. Chestnut. That's a light skin, but chestnuts are what? Brown. So let's see. The transportation. Read this part. The highlighted part. This same book.
Relating to the transportation of prisoners, there are no statistics as to the rate of morality on these in the various colonies and plantations to which they were sent. Bishop Hay in his...
You want to know why that is? Same. Everybody got registered as Negro. Remember, Virginia had a law put out where the Native Americans would be registered as Negro. That's what they did in the slave trade. So why would they have this? They were slaves. Remember, our identity, our heritage taken away. You dumped into a slave plantation, they call you African, even though you was already here, or you had come to find out came from Spain, or you came from England. But they just going to be these African, black.
They remove your claims from the land.
Exactly. So of course they're not going to have that. That's why they don't have statistics on the mortality rate because, yeah, a lot of them didn't die. They were just had their identity taken. They were thrown into the slave trade. They were thrown into the auctions.
On the Trail of Tears, they used that to kill off people who had claims.
Mm-hmm. Con. Keep reading.
Bishop
the
Hay,
highlight part.
Bishop Hay and his Jacobite memoirs tell of 81 Highlanders who were tempted to submit to Everness and were thereupon placed on board the king's vessels and subjected to wretched treatment in them. Those who survived were sent to Barbados, where only 18 were alive 3 years after out of the 81.
Okay. Read that.
How far the Celtic leaven, due to the deportation, has leavened the West Indian and transatlantic lump and would be difficult to say, but in Cape Breton, there is published the only purely Gaelic paper in the world, viz. Mactala, the son of thee.
Good. And also, I'm going to show...
Trade to the West Indies were mostly from...
England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Liverpool.
Watch this.
The United Kingdom.
Read this.
At the present time, there are the Carolinas, large numbers of natives of Highland descent.
That's Scotland. Go ahead.
The Gaelic language is still spoken in a few places. This Gaelic is no doubt a remnant from the Jacobite times where prisoners were largely sent to the southern states.
Watch this. This is another book. It's a book called Red, White, and Black. Symposium on Indians in the Old South by Charles M. Hudson, editor. Now watch this. They're going to describe languages the slaves were speaking coming to the Americas. This is just another witness. So read the highlighted part. These two right here.
The slaves brought here from Africa spoke a variety of African languages, turning 1949, and an arrogant derived from Irish Gaelic.
So what was these slaves coming from Africa speaking Irish Gaelic? Because they was picked up first.
What they're not telling you is that these people is probably speaking what we would call modern day patois. Yeah, I mean, and the language that the Gaelics is speaking was derived from what you would call and got their brogue from what Jamaicans would have today. Like they got a Jamaican brogue. The Irish people that's there today, they got their brogue from what you would call modern day Jamaicans, from the tribe of Benjamin. That's where the brogue comes from. That gibberish or whatever they speak is a derivative derived from their patois. Yeah.
So, all right. From the book called Who is Esau, Who is Edom? I'm going to skip some that we went through last week for time's sake, but let's read this page. So this is from the book Who is Esau, Who is Edom? 1 second.
What page is it?
I'm about to get it. Page 76. Go ahead, start from the top. Well, start right here. No, start there. The Jewish writer.
Who is Esau, Edom? Page 76. The Jewish writer Samuel Roth explains the Jews' economic role as follows. We see the Jew then
small hat. Call him small hat.
Okay, we see the small hat then in business as promoter, moneylender, salesman par excellence, the author-in-chief and instigator of a system of credit by which a nationwide usury rises like a golem, a created monster with a million hands on a million throats to choke the honor and the freedom of movement.
And we know that the small hats are at the top of the chain when it comes to the economy with the Rothschilds, the red shields, right? We're going to see how that started. Watch this. Keep going.
A created monster with a million hands on a million throats to choke the honor and the freedom of movement of a hard-working people. The small hats became moneylenders in most of Europe, lending to nations, princes, merchants, and farmers, any that would need money. The word small hat became synonymous with moneylender and usury.
Okay.
The real key to the small hat's economic rule over nations and the making of usury and credit more effective in their international banking. This scheme began in England. In England.
Go ahead.
It began in England when the small hats led by Rabbi Manasseh ben Israel were allowed to return to the nation in 1657.
Hold up, so the small hats wasn't allowed during King James' reign. 1657 is after the massacres of 1651. Go ahead.
By conspiring with Oliver Cromwell.
See that? Go ahead.
With their foot in the door, the international small hats approached William of Orange and promised to help place him on the throne of England in exchange for helping them secure a charter establish a Bank of England.
Go ahead.
A small hat named Jacob Henriques was instrumental in this endeavor. William and Mary accepted between France and England were now instigated.
Oh, William and Mary accepted the crown.
Slovakia. William and Mary accepted the crown in 1689.
That's where you get the College of William and Mary. That's where you get the actual lineage. These was Edomites. They had usurped the throne from the black kings of England and Scotland, the Stuarts. The descendants of King James stopped there. So these people today that's claiming descendancy from that, nah. They was put in by making deals with the small hats, and they was put in by Oliver Cromwell and his Edomite army. Go ahead.
William and Mary accepted the crown in 1689, but to justify the bank charter, wars between France and England were now instigated. The constant wars which followed William's accession had compelled the king to borrow large sums from London.
Drop that. So now go to 2nd Ezra 6, 8-9. So we're showing Esau taking over. We're showing he's living up to his blessing, and not only he's conquering. What's wrong with this thing? Oh, here we go. Conquered the world with the sword. Taking over the economy, living by the fat of the earth, the dew from heaven, but by the sword. That's what we showed. Who did that today? And overthrew the blacks in England, the natives here in America who are the true Israelites. It was Esau, as the Bible said it would be. Because question is, are we in the last days or no? We're in the last days, right? A blind man can see that. 2nd Ezra 6, 8-9.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, 8, and 9. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau,
Why is that?
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So who's in control of the world here in these last days? Esau. Who is that today, though? The so-called white man who built America as the English, who built America as the Spanish. We just showed they got it. There's nobody else they could be but Esau.
Salakia. And those who teaching the so-called white man is not Esau, like, if you teaching that, then we got another captivity, because it says they the end of the world.
Let's get the map on it. He said they're the end of the world.
Like you said,
The map this is the map of the known world, ain't it?
Oh, you saw that?
Everything on this map green,
That's been-
everything on the map green is colonized or controlled by Europe. Purple is Europe. Everything that's light green is partial European control or influence. Yellow is European sphere of influence. Everything is under Europe's dominion or influence.
Mhm.
Everything except for these tiny little orange spots, which are third world countries that have never been colonized, and they're barely the size of Delaware.
You see a little speck of Ethiopia. A little, and that's not even the full biblical scope of what was Ethiopia. That little horn in the Horn of Africa is what corner of Ethiopia has not been touched by them.
Mhm.
That's it.
Who could be the end of the world?
But it says
Who could be the end of the world?
by his policies and patience.
Mm-hmm.
So Ethiopia is controlled because Ethiopia is still dictated on what their commodities are.
No matter what, they got to do business with all these greens and purples around them,
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah.
No matter what, they got to fly over airspace of these greens and purples. And what
Yeah.
plane disappeared? Wasn't it an Ethiopian plane? Yeah. They was flying in the wrong airspace, I guess. Mm-hmm.
He has decided, he has drew lines in the sea.
Here's the king of the earth.
Yeah.
Here's the end of the world. There it is, right there.
Looked like the Donald himself.
He do. That's
Yeah,
what I thought it was.
Yeah, when you read about the British Empire, and they brought up by Oliver Cromwell. Well, Oliver Cromwell was like a Lord Protector of the British Empire, man, from the 16th century on up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he died in the
For the 17th.
late 16th century, Oliver Cromwell. But the British Empire, man, ruled over, they say, 1/5 of the whole earth. And then they had a phrase that the sun would never set on the British Empire.
British Empire,
That's how wide, that's how big of the empire it was, man. It was big. They said the British Empire had like over 500 million square feet of land all over the earth. 1/5 of the whole earth, man. It was big. So like you said, that's part of the rulership of Europe. Come out of Europe, they rule the whole earth. And going into Esau.
And that was just England.
Yeah, that was
But then
England.
the rest of the 4/5,
Yeah.
it was other European
Spanish
nations,
Empire,
other
Russian
Edomites.
Empire, right, all those empires. German Empire, right.
God.
But that was still only 1/3 of the territory because 2/3 of the territory is water.
Yeah.
He controls that
He
too.
He controls that too,
Yeah, so
don't
how about
yeah,
that?
don't he?
You control the waterways. Yeah.
Go to Lamentations 4 now. Like if it's not them, like none of like these scriptures mean that yes, another captivity coming. I forget who said it, but yeah, if it's not him, you said there's another captivity coming. So it has to be him.
I notice people
According to
always
the Bible.
say Esau is not the white man, but they never really say who he is.
No, they don't. And the ones that do, they say they're Arabs. But where's the Arabs doing all this? The Arabs are under dominion of them, the
They
white
try to
man.
say Jack.
They're not the original Arabs anyhow.
Mhm.
The Arabs are down in Sudan.
They say Japheth, but that's why it's important
Yes.
to go through the histories
You
of
gotta go through the history.
of Alexander the not great and Agag and showed that okay, those are Edomites and who they take over.
Right.
They took over Japheth's territory. They went through everywhere with the sword. Before modern day, they did that with Japheth. They did that with all
Japheth's
those things.
territory was called Europe today.
Mhm.
And when you read the Greek and the Roman Empire, they took all that over, man. With their iron teeth and everything, they took that all over, man. They swept through Japheth's territory like nothing.
Come, read this. Lamentations 4, 21, 22. End time prophecy. End of Jacob's slavery.
I got that highlighted.
Go ahead.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom,
Sarcastically.
that dwellest in the land of Uz.
Mm-hmm.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked.
Mm-hmm.
The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion.
Mm-hmm.
He will no more carry thee away into captivity.
No more. So this means the last captivity. On the point of, if it's not them, who is it? Go ahead.
You better show up soon.
Finish that out.
I want to read one of that part too when you finish.
Okay, come.
He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins.
See that? So they would sip of this cup. This would be the last time that the so-called Negro, that Jacob, sips from this cup. So if it ain't that man that's on at the podium, if it ain't him and his people, then that's coming again.
I got a quick precept and I gotta bring it up. This is because I like over
Well,
that. I'm
let the elder, he been
Okay,
holding it. Let him go first.
But I mean, how quick it is.
Yeah, just quick.
It was quick.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 15 and 16.
Yeah.
For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drink upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I want to read the one in 2nd Esdras 11, and I guess you start from the 38th verse.
Go ahead.
I thought you were going to read.
I didn't. Well,
Yeah,
I can.
I read it. It says, 2nd Esdras 11:38. Hear thou, and I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remaineth of the four beasts? And the four beasts you read about in Daniel 7, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Come.
Okay. Babylon, the Persian Medo Empire, the Greek Empire, then the fourth one is what? The Roman Empire. Art thou that remainest of the four beasts, when I made to whom I made to reign in my world? Talking about the Roman Empire, right? As the resurgence of it is the Renaissance up until now.
Come.
Right? Okay. And that the end of their times might come through them. See? So it's going to be the resurgence of the Roman Empire. It's going to come through them. And that's why he read the scripture in Revelation. And you read about the symbols of the beast. Well, that means the Roman Empire in the last stages of it, which is in this Renaissance period, is going to take over Egypt, going to take over all nations. And they're going to come under the resurgence of the Roman Empire, which is, of course, the elite of the Illuminati and so forth. Okay? Then it says in the 40th verse, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts, right, that were past. That's what he read in Revelation about the lion, the leopard, and so forth, right? And had power over the world with great fearfulness. That iron teeth took over, dreadful and terrible with the Roman Empire, right? That's Esau, right? And over the whole compass of the earth. We're talking about the British Empire. The whole compass, the whole earth. They got everything, okay? So ain't gonna be no Chinese coming out, and then and Asia, East Indians. No, Esau is taking over his whole thing, and he's doing it step by step. Until the end, until Yahushua come and destroy it. Okay, and then it says the whole compass, the whole earth, with the much wicked oppression. That's what they were reading about, right? Wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. Esau ruled a long time. And you can go from the Greek Empire to the Roman Empire, and then of course you had where we took it over from them. All right. During the good 1,000-year reign, Dark Ages, right? But still, even we rule the Dark Ages, but under what? The Roman philosophy. So it was like almost they was like still ruling, but their philosophy was ruling. Okay, Con? It's like a black politician today. You're a politician. You have some say so, but still under the guidelines of what? The Roman Senate, Roman philosophy, Roman idol worship, and so forth. So it's like they're still ruling. Then it's the 41st verse. For the earth has thou not judged with truth. So, like he said, Job 9:24. If it's not him, then who's the Most High talking about then? Right? Then 42nd verse. For thou hast afflicted the meek. And so he brought all the images on the film here, right? Concerning how they would take the babies and hit them on the stone. Take the babies and then hit them on the building, right? And so on and so forth. So afflicted the meek. Thou hast hurt the peaceable. He was talking about the North American Indians, right? Talking about Hispaniola, right? And what they have done, right? Total murder, rape, robbery, and murder, right? Thou hast loved liars and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, right? Right? We read Micah 1-3, right? With violence they come and take over a man's heritage. Right? And has cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. How about that? Yep. Did thee no harm. They still did it. Right? Didn't the North American Indians welcome them? Right? And help them out. Gave Columbus a helping hand. Gave him food, everything. Welcomed them. And destroyed them, man. Right? Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest. So the Most High has seen everything. That's why Esau know he got to reap what he sowed. That's why he read 137 Psalms. Now we're going to take their babies and dash against the stone. Because what they did to our babies. It's only fair, right? Yeah. Most High. One thing about the Most High is fair, ain't it? It's fair, boy. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. The highest also have looked upon the proud times. So you don't think the Most High see everything? And we wonder, when's the Most High going to come and destroy this? But the Most High see it. Okay? The Most High see everything. But the Most High said, like Pharaoh, how he built Pharaoh up. He has to build Pharaoh up to the highest so he can be built up with a mighty army, right? Mighty social structure, everything. Because now everybody thinks he can't be brought down. That's why it's only in the Most High and the house shot he's going to be brought down. Man can't do it.
He think he can't be brought down.
Yeah, he think he can't be brought down. So, but the Most High can't, right? Same way Pharaoh thought. Upon the proud time, and behold, they are ended. It's ended, isn't it? It's coming to an end. We're at the end time now. If Kamala Harris become president, you know we're at the end now. A woman become president, that's the epitome of their social structure, right? Homosexuality, effeminizing, and now it's a woman.
A brutal woman.
Understand?
Who's married to Amalek.
Yeah. And you know, Amalek's behind the whole deal.
That's who's sitting in the seat.
He's sitting in the seat.
I mean, he's her head. That's symbolic right there. Amalek is her head.
Yeah. She's too stupid to rule. She can't be ruled. I mean, come on, look at her. She's a fool. But it's Amalek's behind the whole thing. And the Democratic convention, who came out when she finished talking? The devil himself. Gave her a hug. Good job. Then it says, behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. You read the end of it now, right? And therefore appear no more, thou eagle. And what is Esau in America called? Considered
the eagle.
The eagle. The eagle has landed on the back of your dollar bill. What do you have? On the back of your quarter, eagle. And in the court, what do you have? The eagle. So if he's not the wicked, who is he?
American bird.
Yeah. All right. Nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all of thy vain body. It's all ended. It's gone. Right? That all the earth may be refreshed and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. So talking about Yahushua gonna come and destroy all this madness out. Okay, so that's why we're gonna go ahead.
Back saying the book, Destruction of the Indies. Read the two highlighted parts. The page 34.
Destruction of
the Indies. Page 34.
The kingdom
the Indians, the natives going into slave ships. Jacob would. Somebody go ahead.
The kingdom lost all their inhabitants, for in 6 or 7 years' time, there were constantly 5 or 6 ships made ready to be freighted with Indians that were sold in the regions of Panama and Perusium, where they all died.
So they were murdered, oppressed, and enslaved on slave ships, just like the curses said, like Israel would be done. That was done by who? The Spaniards. Read that other highlighted
By this
part.
means, they have been taken out of this province over 500,000 inhabitants who before were freemen and made slaves.
So if the Spaniards aren't Edomites, then this is going to happen all over again by somebody else then.
Salakia, and this also shows our Northern Kingdom brothers being dispersed into all 4 corners of the world too.
Just like this
Yeah, I
photo
mean,
shows.
you trying to say there's no natives in Africa? They was taken to Algiers, they was taken to Portugal, they was taken to Mauritania, they was taken to Libya, they was taken to the west coast of Africa, they was taken to Spain. I mean, they're there. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know that they are the people because they have not been identified as the people. And our identity has been beaten out of us. So what do you think the people who are in these lands has happened to them? Their identity has been beaten out of them too.
Okay. Go back to Genesis.
The indigenous ones.
Yeah.
Go to verse 41. Back to the reading. Verse 41.
Verse 41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
So from that time forth up to present day, Esau's whole thing in life has been to slay Jacob. We're going to prove that. Amos 1:11.
The book of Amos, chapter 1, verse 11. Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did turn perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever.
So why has the black and the so-called Indian, Native American Indian, Hispanic gone through such oppression and hate here in America? Because it would be forever. Esau would keep his wrath and vengeance against Jacob forever. You don't see this happening with no other people groups forever. From the time of the Maccabees, from the time of the Greeks, the Romans, all through history. Why has it been so-called white against so-called black? Because it would be forever.
You can't change. Like most I said, a leopard can't change the spots. So the more our people try to change the white man, the most I show us what can't change him. I made him the way he is. So it's forever, man, perpetual.
And it's foolishness for somebody. People have said this too. They don't come to class because we teaching against the white man. You don't want us to teach against the people who have been oppressing you. You don't want vengeance to be sought of the people who have done these things that we bringing out to you. You don't want revenge. You don't want the Most High to take vengeance for you, because it's going to happen whether you hear to hear it or not. Whether you hear it or whether you forbear it, this is going to happen or not. Whether we teach it or not, it's still going to happen. Whether you hear it, it's going to happen or not. Point blank, period. It's prophecy.
At the end of the day, what they really hate is the word of God, because we're just reading the book of Genesis. And you come up to somebody called Jacob and Esau, says they be 2 different nations, that they're the most talked about people in the whole book. They're the main characters. You don't want to know who it is because you really hate the word of God. You really don't. You really just want to read it as like a Harry Potter book. That's what it really boils down to. They don't want to know that, because we ain't just. This is in the reading. We broke down the creation of the earth. We did a simple reading of Genesis, and we're given understanding. And yeah, it's still, they say that because they just really hate the word of God.
That's not what it is. It's hatred. Yeah. But like Yakanan said, see, the Most High's prophecy, you got to understand, his prophecy is his testimony. His prophecy is going to come to pass whether there are prophets out there teaching it or not.
Exactly.
It's going to come to pass. So you could shut us all up. But the Most High said, okay, I'll bring about my own word. It's not going to stop, because why? The Most High brought it forth. The Most High said his word is like a hammer. It doesn't return to him void. So it's going to happen whether we think or not. So these people, like you said, there's pure hatred for the word, and they don't want to hear it.
Verse 42, and these words of Esau her elder son were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee.
So it's a comfort to him. That's how he comforts himself. He's going to kill Jacob. That's how he's going to keep control of the world. Let's see. Do I want to read this? And read this real quick. Who is Esau? Who is Edom? Bringing up he brings up a question that we're, you know what? We bring this out on our own. We don't need this. So he's just basically saying the same thing that we teach.
Hold up, I'll read it quickly. Let me read it quickly.
Go ahead, read it quickly.
Yeah, we got time.
All right, this is the book. Who is Esau? Who is Edom?
There is not one favorable or positive statement in the Bible in relation to Esau, Edom. But how does the adverse relationship with Yahweh has towards Esau, Edom help us to identify who this character is in the world today?
Mm-hmm.
To help us answer this, we have to put ourselves into the role which Esau has been assigned in Yahweh's script. If Yahweh hated you and your ancestors, how would you react and what would you do? By nature, by natural reaction, you would be against Yahweh and his people and try to prevent them from finding out you are Esau, the one Yahweh is against, knowing that if Yahweh is against something, so will his followers.
Right, keep going.
So if the Most High is against this, it's only right that you be against Esau, because Esau put himself against you.
Even Esau wrote this book.
Come.
Even Esau is writing this. But read, keep going.
Who is it that tries to conceal their identity as Edom? The one hated by Yahweh by claiming to be Israel. The one loved by Yahweh. Only one group of people reacts as though Yahweh has a hatred for them. That is the small hat.
And this dude is right now, because we talked about last week, he's trying to put them in the place of Jacob and the small hats and Esau. But really, we see this was wrote in the 1800s. We have to see up to the day they showed that they are the same, doing the same thing, and they're together. That's why now they're in cahoots. Who do they protect more than anybody? The small hats. Say something against the small hat, who's their number one defender? The establishment of the United States. So they're the same people with the same goals, doing the same thing, hiding the identity.
They definitely ain't going to do nothing for just black people. No.
Read that last paragraph, and then we're going to go to Psalms 83.
Why do you suppose the small hats form organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League to monitor and combat hate and to identify hate groups? Would not Esau want to do this? Why is it that it is predominantly small hats who promote the anti-hate laws and other hate crime legislation? If you were Esau Edom, would you not do the same? An Edomite would also want to infiltrate churches.
And what do they get on? If you come and you claim your true identity, the anti-defamation, and you even question the validity of their identity, the Defamation League is on your heels. But they still run the record industries, and if you're talking about killing each other or selling drugs in your community, they're not against that. There's no, if you're defamating your own peoples, they're not against that. They're all for it. They're gonna make money off of it.
They promoting these sexy red and Dukiana and make male horse and all type of crazy stuff, and all this drill and kill music, hating your brother, and the ops on the internet slaying each other. But you say something about the small hats, they're gonna flag you. They done took down our whole channel. Our whole channel gone. Our first whole channel. We had like 1,000 followers. The first channel gone. We had to start over again because we had a dude who was talking about the small hats, and he was a bioengineer. He said the small hats had put this shot out there to take us all out. He had put the solution out there to take us out. And the Elder Barak interviewed him on the streets, and they took our whole channel down because of that.
Psalm 83.
The book of Psalms 83, chapter 2. Slakia, verse 2.
Verse 2 to 6.
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasha Allah may be no more in remembrance.
Who do they have a problem with claiming to be Israel? Us? Not them, though. Yeah, exactly. So we know that ain't them because they would have a problem with Israel's name being in remembrance. So it's the people who's taking that from the people who's claiming it. That's how you know who's Jacob, who's Esau. Go ahead.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the
white supremacy. You brought out earlier, all the other nations in our neighborhood operating under white supremacy. First nation mentioned, Esau, heading it up. Then the rest. Go ahead.
The Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes.
All these different nations in your neighborhood serving you at your, owning the market, corner store, the liquor store, Chinese restaurant, the New York Fried Chickens, all of them making money off of you while Esau got his foot on your neck. Verse 12.
Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession.
So who has the Israelites in possession? Esau, we got to move it along. Esau did this by means of physical locations and also identity, which got the takeoff it needed when John Hyrcanus converted the Edomites. This is when Edomites became small hats. They took on the identity of us and left their true identity.
The book of Josephus, chapter 13. Book 13, chapter 9, verse 257 to 58. Hyrcanus took also Dura and Marissa, cities of Idumea. Idumea is the Greek name for Edom and Esau, and subdued all the Idumeans and permitted them to stay in that country if they would circumcise their genitals and make use of the laws of the small hats. And they were so
desirous.
They would.
It's a split. Desirous.
They were so desirous of living in the country of their forefathers that they submitted to the use of circumcision and the rest of the Jewish ways of living. At which time, therefore, this befell them that they were hereafter no other than Jews.
See that? That's when they get their start up.
And when they submitted to circumcision, they submitted to a
We're going to skip these for time purpose.
Yeah, I know. That's nasty how they do that.
Let's go to, so, run out of time. Let's go to, we did a pretty good job proving who's who. You didn't see how much I went through? That was a lot. Yeah, but we've already proved all this stuff, so go here. Let's we're gonna go through this and then
the Habakkuk, the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2 through 5. Oh, you were saving this for the end. I was bringing it out too early. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak.
That's the question. We're either at the end or we're not. Are we at the end? Go ahead.
But it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine.
It's talking about the wicked, who we proved is Esau. He transgresseth by wine. Go ahead.
He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as
and he can't keep it home. We showed the map. He's taking over everywhere. It's not his home.
He enlarges his desire as hell. That means we living in a state of hell. And is as death.
Everywhere he goes, he brings death. Whether it's the sword and now plague, diseases. He gets the most diseases and spreads them. Go ahead.
And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and he unto him all people. He has
his foot in every nation. We the map again. There it is. Keep going. Verse 6.
Shall not these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee?
And Obadiah talks about that. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them.
Mm-hmm.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil.
And who's doing this? NASA, Space Force, space stations. Go ahead.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 10. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and has sinned against thy
And he
soul.
cut them off by the sword, but he also cut them off spiritually by what? His religions, his lies, his philosophies. Caesar Borgia. What are these religions?
Jehovah's Wickedness.
The religions
Apostolic,
are
Episcopalian,
Sunday.
Methodist, Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness,
Mormonism,
Pentecost, baptism, you name it. And really they helped out in that spreading the Islam too. They had their part of it, even though the Ishmaelites created it. But keep going. Because they ain't got a problem if you're black and you cleave to that. You throw on your hat and get your prayer rug. They ain't got a problem with that.
Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and established the city by iniquity.
Who did that? There you go.
Land of defeat, home of the slave.
Right. Go ahead.
That'd be based on the shirt.
Won't it? We're going to have to get some made.
Habakkuk 2, 13, 15. Behold, it is not of Yahweh of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea.
We see that's starting, not or been starting, but it's the waters are rising more and more when you see the people awaken, coming back to the knowledge, commandments, and the laws of God. Go ahead.
Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth the bottle to him, and maketh him drunken. Also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness.
Okay, so who did this? Read that real quick. I read, European colonists introduced alcohol to the Native Americans in the form of trade, social interaction, and peace negotiations. Before European contact, some tribes used fermented beverages for ceremonies, but they didn't distill more potent alcohol. When Europeans introduced alcohol, tribes had little time to develop social, legal, or moral guidelines to regulate its use. Here are some examples of how alcohol was introduced to Native American tribes. The Tlingit. French traders introduced alcohol to the Tlingit around 1790, and the Russians later taught them to distill a liquor called hooch. Norton Sound. Russian traders introduced alcohol to the natives of Norton Sound in the 1850s, and it spread throughout the north of Alaska. Lakota Sioux. The small town of White Clay, Nebraska, which borders South Dakota, sold more than 4 million cans of beer a year to members of the Lakota Sioux tribe on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Here they are giving the natives alcohol. Here's a native in front of a saloon around the 1800s, passed out drunk. They taught him how to do that. Here's this Lakota Sioux on the streets doing nothing, just drunk and high and no direction in life. The official population of White Clay, what we just read about, where the Lakota Sioux live, Nebraska, or they live actually right over the line in Pine Ridge Reservation. White Clay, Nebraska is a town of 12. White Clay, Nebraska is 12. That's the population. But thanks to a lucrative liquor trade that's heavily dependent on customers from neighboring alcohol-free Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota, there are many more lives at stake in this unincorporated border town.
Yeah.
White Clay, Nebraska, 12 people, 4 liquor stores, more than 42 million cans of beer sold in the last 10 years.
Come on.
This is and then we also see in our black communities, Hispanic, so-called Hispanic communities, liquor stores every corner. There's a liquor store on every corner in the hood. See that?
Come on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is the last verse. Thou art filled with the shame of for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall turn unto thee, and the shameful spilling shall be on thy glory. And that's the truth coming out, who they is. And they're sipping from that cup. You got the opioid crisis, like an opioid crisis. You got the oxycodone addiction. You got the America's crystal meth epidemic. And they're sipping from the cup, and the truth is coming out. And, the only thing left is the rest of that chapter. But that's it right there. Kwam Yashala. End this by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh. By Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Go ahead and end it out.
Once again, call halal Yahweh by Hashem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai Barak Atah. We want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai. And greetings once again to the 12 tribes of Israel scattered to the 4 corners of the globe. We are Hebrew chosen elect. For the time being, we fellowship here at Rose Hill Community Center, 19 Lamson Lane, classroom 110B. And we fellowship from here from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. If you would like to give any alms or free will offerings, you can give at hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect at Cash App. If you have any questions concerning the lesson, or if you have any comments, you can hit me, Brother Gamoria, or Elder Barak up on Facebook, or any other brothers in the congregation if you know them. And with that, we say shalom. Oh yeah, the Hebrew Summit is next week from
Thursday to Sunday, September 1st. So August 29th to September 1st.
August 29th to September 1st. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.
Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala. Kwam Yashala. Hashem Yahushua.